There are three psalms so powerful that for centuries warriors, kings, and common people have used them as an invisible shield against danger and a key to unlock impossible miracles. The real question is, do you know which ones they are? Few are aware that the Bible holds mysteries that lie not just in the written words, but in the vibration those words carry. The Psalms, when understood and used with faith and awareness, are more than prayers. They are spiritual codes, true frequencies that align a human being with the invisible forces of the Creator. It's as if each verse were a thread of light connecting the mind and heart to the infinite energy of God. Imagine for a moment that every problem tormenting you today, every fear that holds you captive, every weight you carry in your soul could be dissolved not by something external, but by a spiritual key that has always been right in front of you. These three psalms are portals that open that path, yet almost no one speaks of them in the correct way. And I must warn you, the last psalm I will reveal here is the most powerful of all. And when you understand its strength, you will realize you will never be the same person again. But before we continue, allow me to ask you a question. How many times have you prayed for help, only to feel your words wouldn't go past the ceiling? How many times have you pleaded for a divine answer, and yet it seemed that silence was the only response? Perhaps you believed you weren't worthy enough, or that God wasn't listening. The truth is something else entirely. The problem was never you, but the way you connected. The Bible, when read merely as an ordinary book, loses its power. But when read as a manual for manifestation, as Emmett Fox taught, it becomes the key to transforming any reality. Emmett Fox used to say that scientific prayer is not about asking, it's about affirming. It's recognizing that what we seek already exists in God and therefore already exists within us. That is why the Psalms function as vibrational decrees. They were not written for a specific time or a restricted people. They are universal. When spoken with intention, they activate unseen forces that shape reality. Think about it. If your mind has the power to create thoughts of fear and doubt, which end up shaping negative situations in your life, imagine what happens when that same mind is fed with words that carry the direct vibration of the Spirit of God. It's like switching from a frequency of pain to a frequency of miracles. This is precisely what the three most powerful Psalms do. They raise your energy, dissolve blockages, and create a field of protection and manifestation around you. And that's why it is so important that you stay until the end, because the third psalm is not just a prayer, but a true spiritual key. If you comprehend and apply what I am about to reveal, your life can become a journey of protection and abundance as you may have never experienced before. Now, before we move forward, I want to ask you for something simple. If this knowledge has already touched your soul in some way, if you feel there is something here that can change your life, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This strengthens this current of light and allows this message to reach thousands of others who also need it. And there's more. I've prepared something special for you who wish to dive even deeper into this wisdom. There is content in the first pinned comment that can expand your vision on how to manifest miracles consciously, using the same key I will reveal here. It's not theory, it's practice. You just need to click and allow yourself to experience this transformation. Returning to the Psalms, I want you to realize something. What is at stake is not just learning beautiful words, but accessing the energy behind them. In the next few minutes, you will understand why so many kings found strength in these Psalms amidst wars, why so many mothers found comfort in nights of sorrow, and why so many ordinary men and women managed to conquer invisible giants just by reciting these verses. What I am about to share is not religious, it is spiritual. It's not about dogma, but about an awakening. You will see that the Bible, when understood deeply, is not a distant book, but a map that guides us back to the divine power that dwells within each of us. And remember, The last psalm I will reveal is the supreme key, and the way it connects to the law of attraction and the teachings of Emmett Fox will show you that there are no limits to what you can experience. The power is in you. The power is here, now. Prepare yourself, because we are about to open the first door. When we speak of the three most powerful psalms in the Bible, we must understand they are not just ancient words written thousands of years ago. They are like seeds planted in the invisible field of the Spirit, which, when watered by faith and consciousness, blossom into tangible miracles in the lives of those who use them. The power of the Psalms lies not just in reading them, but in deeply immersing oneself in their vibration. It is as if they were musical notes that, when played, resonate in the human heart and awaken dormant divine forces. The first psalm we will unveil is known by many, but understood by few. It speaks of absolute trust in the Lord, of not fearing evil even when all external signs point to danger. We are talking about Psalm 91, the Psalm of divine protection. It is like an invisible shield, a spiritual fortress that envelops those who believe. But understand, it is not enough to mechanically recite its words. Emmett Fox said that prayer must be done with imagination and faith, visualizing what you desire as already accomplished. Therefore, when you read Psalm 91, don't just repeat it. Truly imagine God's presence covering you with His wings. Visualize a golden light surrounding you and feel that no harm can approach, because the field of faith is more real than what your eyes can see. Now think with me, how many times have you felt vulnerable? How many times have you looked to the future and felt afraid of what might happen? Psalm 91 is the antidote to this distress. It doesn't promise that problems will never arise, but it guarantees that you will never be alone, and that even in the midst of the storm, there is a secret place of refuge where no evil can touch you. That is why kings recited it before battles, and why people today still use it to protect themselves and their families. When you declare this psalm with awareness, you create a spiritual atmosphere around you that repels everything that does not belong to the light. This is the first step, entering the energy of protection to then make space for miracles. But the journey doesn't end here. There is a second psalm that carries such extraordinary strength, it has changed the destiny of countless people. I am talking about Psalm 23, the Psalm of trust and abundance. How many times have you felt that something was missing in your life? How many times have you believed you wouldn't have enough, whether it be money, love, or even inner peace? Psalm 23 begins with the words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." This declaration is not just a comforting phrase, it is a spiritual key that reprograms the mind. Emmett Fox taught that the human mind is like a fertile field where everything we plant eventually grows. If you plant thoughts of scarcity, you will reap scarcity. But if you plant the conviction that the universe is abundant and that God is your infinite source, then you can lack nothing. Psalm 23 is exactly that, a mental and spiritual reprogramming. When you repeat it, you are affirming to your subconscious that you do not depend on external circumstances, but on an inexhaustible source of divine provision. Imagine the scene described in this psalm. Green pastures, still waters, a table prepared in the presence of enemies, a cup overflowing. This is more than poetry. It is the perfect visualization of what it means to live in complete trust. By declaring this psalm, you are aligning yourself with the energy of prosperity, allowing abundance to manifest in all areas of your life. It is no coincidence that so many people have found comfort and strength in this psalm over the centuries. It is a reminder that you are never lost, because there is always an invisible hand guiding your steps. But perhaps you're wondering, what about the third psalm? What is this well-kept secret, this key so powerful that it can completely transform your spiritual and practical outlook on life? We now arrive at the deepest point of this revelation. The final psalm I want to share is Psalm 27. This psalm is different from the other two because it speaks not only of protection or provision, but of victory over fear, of the certainty that God's light is stronger than any darkness. Psalm 27 begins with a powerful question. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? This is not just a beautiful phrase. It is an affirmation that cuts off all feelings of insecurity at the root. How many times has fear paralyzed you? How many opportunities have you missed because you felt small in the face of challenges? This psalm is the spiritual sword that cuts the chains of fear. It reminds you that you do not have to walk alone because the divine light accompanies you every step of the way. Here is the key that few realize. When you eliminate fear, you make room for manifestation. Fear is like a shadow that blocks the light of miracles. But when you affirm with conviction that the Lord is your light, the shadow simply vanishes. It's like lighting a candle in a dark room. The darkness doesn't resist, it simply dissolves. And that is why Psalm 27 is so powerful. It not only protects you, but gives you the courage to act, to believe, to rise up and claim what is already yours by spiritual right. Now, I want you to notice something very important. These three psalms form a path. Psalm 91 places you in the field of protection, Psalm 23 aligns you with abundance, and Psalm 27 eliminates fear, paving the way for victory. It is as if they were 3 steps of a spiritual ladder that leads you to a higher level of consciousness and manifestation. It is not just about reciting words, but about living the vibration they carry. And here is an essential point. You can use these psalms in a practical way, incorporating them into your daily life as true decrees of manifestation. Upon waking, declare Psalm 91 and visualize divine protection surrounding you. During the day, repeat Psalm 23 and feel that you lack nothing, that the universe is constantly supplying all your needs. And at night, before sleeping, recite Psalm 27, surrendering your fears and anxieties, reaffirming that God's light is your salvation. When you create this habit, you are not just praying, you are programming your mind and heart to live in tune with the spiritual laws of the universe. It is as if you are creating a magnetic field around you that attracts protection, prosperity, and courage. This is the true law of attraction taught by the Bible itself and reaffirmed by spiritual masters like Emmett Fox. I know that perhaps at this moment you are feeling a mix of hope and curiosity within you, maybe even a sense that something new is about to happen in your life. And it is precisely this feeling that you should nurture because it is the sign that your soul has recognized the truth. Do not ignore this call. What you are hearing here is not just a message, it is an invitation to a real and profound transformation. And to help you even more on this journey, I have left material in the first pinned comment that will expand this knowledge and show you how to apply these principles practically in your life. It is not something theoretical, it is a step-by-step guide for you to experience manifestation and witness concrete miracles. Click on it, because it might be the very piece that was missing to complete your spiritual walk. Returning to our path, I want you to reflect. If kings, prophets, and warriors use these psalms to win external and internal battles, why wouldn't you do the same? Why continue living a life limited by fear, scarcity, or insecurity when spiritual keys are available to everyone? Psalm 91 reminds you that you are protected. Psalm 23 shows you that you are provided for. Psalm 27 confirms that you are victorious. This triad forms a perfect circle of energy capable of dissolving any blockage. And when you understand that these biblical codes are, in fact, spiritual formulas for manifestation, everything changes. Life ceases to be a lonely struggle and becomes a guided journey. You stop feeling lost and begin to walk with confidence. And above all, you discover that you no longer need to wait for something to happen on the outside to feel secure or happy, because the real transformation begins within you, in your mind, in your heart, in your words. Therefore, every time you open your mouth to declare these psalms, do it with faith, with emotion, with conviction. Imagine the result already happening. Feel the energy of God moving in your life. This is not just a prayer, it is a spiritual activation. And remember, the last psalm, Psalm 27, is the supreme key because it destroys the root of all blockages, fear. And when fear is gone, anything is possible. Because where there is faith, there are miracles. Where there is trust, there is victory. Where there is light, no darkness can withstand. This is the secret that few know, but which is now before you. The decision is yours, to remain where you are, or to open the door to a new level of spiritual and material life. The Psalms are the key. The question is, will you use them? Throughout this journey, we have delved into the 3 most powerful Psalms of the Bible and discovered that they are not just words of comfort, but spiritual codes that carry the vibration of divine manifestation. Psalm 91 reminded us of the invisible protection that surrounds us when we trust, a refuge that cannot be broken by any evil. Psalm 23 showed us that there is no lack for one who connects to the source, and that abundance is the natural state of those who walk in faith. And finally, Psalm 27 revealed to us the most powerful key of all: victory over fear. The light that dispels all shadows and clears the path for courage, for confidence, and for miracles. But perhaps the most important thing of all is to realize that these psalms were not written just to be read in times of distress, but to be lived, breathed, and integrated into the heart. It is not enough to recite, one must feel. It is not enough to repeat, one must believe. Because when the word unites with faith, it transforms into creative power. Perhaps you have realized that deep down, you have always been searching for something to give meaning to your pain, to bring answers in moments of silence. And that is what these psalms do. They do not just relieve, they transform. They remind you that you are never alone, that there is a higher power guiding your steps, and that life is not meant to be survived, but to be lived in fullness. And here is an essential point. When you bring these truths into your daily life, not only does your spiritual life strengthen, but all areas begin to align. Fear loses its power, anxiety diminishes, doors begin to open, opportunities seem to appear as if from nowhere, but it is not from nowhere. It is the fruit of the spiritual field you activate when you connect to the Word with consciousness. You might even think it's a coincidence, but it's not. The universe responds to the vibration you emit. If you live in a vibration of fear, you attract situations that reinforce that fear. But when you declare with conviction, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear?" the vibration changes, and with it your reality also transforms. Make no mistake, this is not an empty promise. It is a spiritual principle, a divine code that has always been available, but which few have dared to apply with faith and perseverance. Now you have not just heard about it, but you hold the key in your hands. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge from today onwards? Will you go back to your routine as if nothing happened? Or will you start using these psalms as living decrees, as shields and portals of manifestation? You may still doubt your own strength, but let me tell you, you already carry within you everything you need to experience the miracles you so desire. The Psalms are merely a reminder of that power. They do not put something new inside you, they awaken what has always been there. They ignite the flame that was perhaps hidden under the ashes of fear, scarcity, and doubt. And if, up to this point, you have felt something different, an emotion you can't explain, a sense of peace or hope, know that this is already a sign that the energy has begun to move. Your spirit recognizes the truth even before your mind does. So, do not let this flame go out. Nurture it. Declare these psalms every day. Live them as a part of you, and you will see that little by little, your life will be shaped by a greater force. And I want to ask you something. If this message has touched your heart, if you felt that it brought clarity, strength, and hope, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. By doing so, this current of light becomes stronger, and this message can reach even more people who, like you, need this revelation. And remember, in the first pinned comment, there is content that can be the next step in your journey. Click on it, because there you will find something that will expand your consciousness about manifestation even further, and about how to live this life guided by protection, abundance, and victory over fear in a practical way. Do not ignore this call, because it could be the bridge to the next miracle in your life. Finally, I want you to carry this truth with you. God does not move away from you. It was you who many times moved away from him through fear, doubt, or disbelief. But the good news is that it only takes one step, a single step towards him, for all of heaven to move in your favor. These psalms are that step. Use them, live them, allow yourself to be transformed by them. Because when the light enters, no darkness can resist.